out. Camnet TV caught up with Kaunda Square shop owner who tells this journalist that the order price for a box of candles has increased from fetching at 250 at the beginning of the year to selling at 370 kwacha per box, with one candle costing 5 kwacha for an ordinary Zambian amidst the high cost of living.
Pakaleari 250 hapa nomba tule order 370. Na yopa kumoneka kuti balete para pitama days balete 5 kwacha. 5 kwacha and then 1 by 6 ni 25.
And following the newly announced load shedding schedule by the power utility company, residents of Kaunda Square have urged ZESCO to refrain from issuing more schedules when they do not follow the stated time frame.
Now, for some times, it has been confusing, very disturbing. You don't even know the programs. So nowadays, we can't even put Lilish in the fridge. Everything has been worsened. So for us, we are even suffocating because of the same schedules that have been compromised. So what we are hoping the ZESCO to do is to stop just releasing those schedules, so that we shouldn't rely on the schedules. We are used with it because schedules are just disturbing us. That's all I can say.
Ifata tuwaishona tamtembo ya wenga ya bashani tusamkuisanga nga bamipera bati pia yali amadezi batire mukalabo mpya 8 hours ila kulamuli 8 hours ile samkusanga tiyo muntu ashimya malaiti na 05 ero yese mkwaka 23 hours okay nga mwaisa lusha sana bali 8 hours ya so tulechula mulandu na malaiti ngatuleikala kubwino so amalaiti nga balekwa kanshi balebo mpya kyoko kunyabe na malaiti foko bene tubelele tuwekele kumushi to make matters worse chivipishe sana hapa amalasha na yadula kenduro na idula tapali necho tulinga bompya kwawo fyonse fintu na vidula.
Meanwhile, Shawa Robert, who runs a butchery, says ZESCO's lack of proper load management has affected his business as he cannot sell as much as he could before the load shedding.
Like schedule. They can bring out the schedule as before, but for them, they are not doing the way we expected them to do. And then it has affected the road actually in terms of economy, because even me here to survive with my butcher, I need people who are running small businesses like salons, barber shops, for them also to come and buy from me. So I think it has affected the road for us.
ZESCO, in their press release dated 2nd July 2024, says the company is striving to adhere to the load rationing schedule and will promptly communicate any disruptions or changes via SMS or the ZESCO Facebook page and other media platforms. Cherish Sibote. For Camnet News, Lusaka.
A Lusaka clergyman, Bishop John Mambo, has disclosed that there are few churches in Zambia that are preaching the word of God in earnest, claiming majority of churches are Jesus ministries pursuing money. Bishop Mambo tells Camnet TV News that the Zambian clergy need to repent and change the dimension of the gospel being practiced currently. He says men and women of God must seek the Lord again for the land to be healed instead of focusing on receiving money. The cleric's comment follows the death of a 14-month-old baby who died at an alleged prophet's house on allegations that an 84-year-old woman was responsible for the death.
There are very few churches in Zambia now that want to serve the Lord. The majority is Jesus industry. I not managing to work with my hands. The next thing I'll say, I have a calling. When you have a calling, you have nothing for yourself. You deny yourself. Each day you confess that I am a sinner who stand to be favored by the grace of the Lord. And each time, in short, if everyone that went to church in this country or synagogue were truly confessing Zambia would have no anti-corruption commission. Because the bigger giver in monetary terms, he's the one who's more corrupt. And we accept it because we can pray for this dirty money and all that. And as a result, quickly our members, when they say, oh, this person is blessed, they also start a ministry, not even a church, a ministry. Once they start doing that, in order to attract membership, you realize in these churches, the smaller the church is, the bigger spiritual in terms of the activities is. The bigger the church is, it is all about myself, whereby the leader can't even greet the members. He has no time to say it's free education, but we can help this family to go to school. So what Zambia needs, and I keep on saying, it's never too late for us who are called ambassadors of God, for us who are called ministers of the gospel, for us who are called lifting the cross, to go back to the cross and confess and say, Lord, there's somewhere we have made a mistake. We've declared Zambia as a Christian nation. There's nothing wrong with that. I was in the Mambo Constitutional Review myself. The majority of the people wanted this to be, in our prayer.
The Food Reserve Agency, FRA, says it will soon commence the sale of maize in smaller packages of 25 kgs and 10 kgs to 84 districts affected by the drought which has hit the country. The agency's public relations coordinator, John Chipandwe, says the move will accommodate the needs of vulnerable households, especially in communities adversely hit by the drought. Mr. Chipandwe says the move is an addition to the already existing packaging of 50 kg bags of maize being sold. He reveals that the 25 kg and 10 kg packs of maize will sell at 165 kwacha and 66 kwacha respectively. Some historians from the University of Zambia, UNZA, have called on the need to place the country's surviving heroes on a monthly pay as a sign of honoring their efforts. Dr. Houston Chiputa tells Camnet News that the current generation has a mandate to uphold the struggles made by the fallen and living heroes in the country. He proposes the need to safeguard the country's land as a source of riches in the future. Meanwhile, Professor Bizek Puri challenges the current generation to reflect on the importance of peace and unity as it observes the Heroes and Unity Day holidays. More in this report.
Heroes and Unity Day are among the special days on the Zambian calendar as they signify the efforts made by the forefathers who are in the battlefront for peace, love and unity. To be the order of the day, Heroes Day in Zambia is annually celebrated as a memorial day for those who perished during the independence struggles, and Unity Day celebrates the country with over 70 languages and dialects united into a one nation. Renowned historians have weighed in on the need for the days to be preserved, especially for the future generation in the country. Dr. Houston Chiputa explains that while the days are of significance to the country, citizens should guard the country's heritage, such as land, as it is now the greatest riches it has.
Must be able to remember that this land was not given on a silver platter. This land was fought for. This land took lives. This land has to be cherished. And in fact, I would like our leaders to begin to look to 50 years, 100 years from today. If you look at climate change, the world is becoming drier and drier and drier. So the wars that will be fought in future, we may not be there, will be over water. The wars that will be fought in future will be over land, because now big countries want huge tracts of land, particularly in Africa, and in areas where there's a lot of water, in areas where there's a lot of arable land. They want to acquire that land to grow food.
Dr. Chiputa also challenges citizens in the country to be patriotic by joining hands with government in the fight against corruption.
It should be a job only for the president to pursue. And in fact, when the fight against corruption takes place, certain cases are taken to court and things like that. Sometimes we sympathize so much like nothing happened until when someone is proved guilty. That's when we realize that in fact a crime had been committed or some corrupt practice had been committed. Corruption is another issue we need to tackle right from childhood, not to just fight it at the political level, at the institutional level. We need a mindset, training.
Meanwhile, Professor Bizek Piri challenges the current generation to reflect on the importance of peace and unity as the country observes the two important days
in order to ensure that Zambia attained independence, and therefore they are commemorated. So on Heroes Day, which was yesterday, 1st July 2024, we celebrate and we remember those freedom fighters, so that at the end of it all, we are saying we're moving together. So our unit, therefore, is number one. For the younger generation, as they are growing, it's a day that they should never forget. It's a day that should always be remembered, because it is a very critical day that ensures that we remain united. And as we are united, we can now focus on the development of this country.
Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Lusaka High Court has dismissed a petition by President Hakainde Hichilema's political advisor, Levi Ngoma, in which they sued Petauke Member of Parliament Emmanuel J.J. Banda and 3 others for defamation. Ruth Judge Chibabuka ordered that the action was improperly commenced and has no authority to entertain it. In this matter, Mr. Ngoma and ruling UPND Deputy National Youth Chairperson Trevor Mwinde sued Mr. Banda, Zambia whistleblower owner Thomas Alan Ziambo, NDC leader Saboi Imboela, and PEP leader Sean Tembo for defamation. More in this report.
As the public awaited the outcomes surrounding the disappearance of Petauke Member of Parliament Emmanuel J.J. Banda between May and June this year, on Monday, 3rd June 2024, President Hakainde Hichilema's political advisor, Levi Ngoma, and the ruling UPND Deputy National Youth Chairperson, Trevor Mwinde, sued independent Petauke Member of Parliament, Emmanuel J.J. Banda, and others for defamation. This followed commentaries on Mr. Banda's alleged missing this year. However, the defamation suit by the duo has suffered a setback as the Lusaka High Court has dismissed the petition on grounds that the action was wrongly commenced and has no jurisdiction to hear it. In this matter, Mr. Ngoma and Mr. Mwinde sued Petauke Independent Member of Parliament Emmanuel Banda, Zambian whistleblower owner Thomas Ziambo, NDC faction leader Saboi Imboela, and outspoken PEP President Sean Tembo. The duo were seeking, among other reliefs, damages for defamation of character, for repeated publication of defamatory statements, mental torture, trauma, hatred, ridicule, contempt, distrust, and embarrassment suffered as a result of the alleged published defamatory words. Mr. Ngoma and Mr. Mwinde also sought the court to grant them an injunction restraining the four and their lawyers from publishing alleged defamatory remarks, but in an order validated by Lusaka High Court Judge Ruth Chibabuka, the court reveals that the matter was wrongly commenced and cannot be accepted because the plaintiff, Mr. Ngoma and Mr. Mwinde, served the letter of demands to the four as required by court rules before filing in the petition. As such, the court dismissed the petition and granted leave to appeal. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
The World Bank has approved a $207.6 million grant to Zambia as the second additional financing for the Scaling Up a Shock Response Social Protection Project. In a letter addressed to Finance and National Planning Minister Dr. Stumbeko Msokotwane, by the World Bank Executive Director for African Group 1 Constituency, Dr. Floribert Ngaruko, says the funds are meant to help the government to effectively respond to the impact of drought. Dr. Ngaruko says the project's aim is to protect the poor and vulnerable households' consumption in response to shocks in Zambia and will support at least over 1.6 million households across 84 drought-impacted districts with emergency cash assistance over a 12-month period. Government has reassured its commitment to the decentralization project in all parts of the country. Speaking during the handover of the newly constructed Lufwanyama District Administration, Infrastructure and Urban Development Minister Charles Melupi says this calls for an urgent comprehensive maintenance policy to safeguard the infrastructure. Here is a report.
This is a newly constructed Lufwanyama District Administration Block, which has a total of 32 office spaces. This will now enable all government departments under the central government to operate under one roof, as Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development has officially opened the building.
This project is just the beginning of our journey towards decentralization and bringing essential services closer to the people with DC and the administration. There is an urgent need for a comprehensive maintenance plan to safeguard this valuable asset for generations to come.
The coming of this office building will enhance efficiency in delivering government services.
A happy member of parliament today because we are handing this district administration to us, and it has happened during my tenure of office as a member of parliament, and it will remain in the history.
May I also mention that we have got movement challenges in Lufwanyama. The road to Chingola, which is one of the projects which were cancelled. So the road to Chief Fungulwe.
Meanwhile, the minister later proceeded to Mpongo district to commission yet another similar project. My colleague Noah Kangali in Mpongo district picked it up there.
Thank you so much, Agrippa. The minister has arrived safely here in Mpongo, where he has equally managed to commission the new government office block.
These improved facilities, the district administration will be empowered to effectively implement government's programs, further enriching the lives of our people.
Here, the building equally has a total of 32 offices for government workers. And Mpongo Central Member of Parliament thanked the New Dawn administration for expediting the completion of the building.
Allow me to convey my gratitude to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, for funding this project. As it not for UPND government, this infrastructure wouldn't have been done.
The new buildings in Lufwanyama and Mpongo will improve service delivery in both districts. Zanis reports on the Copperbelt province.
Minister of Labour and Social Security Brenda Tambatamba has directed the Food Reserve Agency FRA in Kasempa district to heighten its outreach programs to enhance the maize buying exercise. Ms. Tambatamba says the FRA must heighten its maize buying exercise through engagement in extension and outreach programs to ensure that the district is food secure. She said this during the Disaster Mitigation and Management Unit district meeting in Kasempa district today. She further explains that there is need for FRA to combine the maize buying exercise with the outreach program for their buying targets to be met. Meanwhile, District Administrative Officer Francis Makanga assured the minister that the District Administration Office and FRA had put some measures to ensure the district was food secure. Kwezwa residents in Nagoma constituency have held government's decision to construct a weekly boarding school. Member of Parliament Collins Nzovu says the groundbreaking of the construction of the school is an assurance of the UPND administration to make education accessible to all. Here is a report.
Kezwa residents are seated on a 25-hectare land designated for the construction of the first weekly boarding secondary school in Nangoma constituency. Member of Parliament Collins Nzovu presided over the groundbreaking ceremony in Kezwa, which is under Senior Chief Shakumbila's chiefdom.
All the wards in Nangoma, this is the secondary school. This is the only secondary school we are going to have in Nangoma. We are going to building. We want a full boarding school in Nangoma.
Martin Liwali is the coordinator of the Zambia Education Program Coordination Unit and outlines the planned structures.
We have 1x3 classroom block, 1x2 classroom block, 2 ablution blocks, one for girls and the other for boys, an administration block, 1x3 science laboratory block, 1x2 home economics and design technology block, 1x2 computer room and library block, a school hall, 12 standalone teachers' houses, a sick bay or health room.
Provincial Education Officer Mambo Mianda has expressed excitement about the upcoming Kezwa Weekly Boarding Secondary School.
This new boarding school coming will feed the surrounding schools nearby which cannot access secondary school, and even those which are in far-flung areas, they will be supported by the boarding aspect.
You're watching Camnet Menus at 19:30. We take a break. When we do come back, we have international as well as sports news. Keep watching.
With this impending drought, it's time we look to alternatives of sustaining our crops. We as ISDP are promoting irrigation and water harvesting as the solution to challenges posed by climate change. Watch our 13-week series as we unfold the solutions for our crops. Catch us every Monday at 2040 hours, repeats every Tuesday at 1910.
Are you looking for a reliable and efficient courier company with international standards? Then let UBZ Courier, your trusted partner in swift and secure deliveries, be your ultimate choice. Whether it's a small package or a hefty consignment, UBZ Courier handles it all, locally and internationally. Our modern call center ensures personalized attention for every client. For seamless deliveries within Zambia and beyond, trust UBZ Courier. Call us now on +260 763 062 680 or visit us at plot number 15 Mwapona Road, Woodlands, Lusaka, Zambia. UBZ Courier, a world-class brand that can be trusted.
Enjoy the benefits of an instant loan with us ranging from 1,000 kwacha to 750,000 kwacha paid express once collateral is viewed, valued and verified. Call us on 0763 595 359 or 0779 432 993. Classified Financial Express, here as your financial friend.
Thank you for staying with us. The rest of the news continues in international news. Protest has continued in Kenya's capital and other areas over a finance bill that will raise the cost of living, even after President William Ruto assured he will not sign it in the wake of storming of Parliament last week. While there are concerns that President William Ruto might change his mind and sign the finance bill before next week's deadline, some protesters are now calling on Ruto to resign and accusing him of bad governance. Here is a roundup of international news.
Hamas, the rulers of Gaza, Netanyahu has repeatedly said that the fighting will only stop with the defeat of the resistance group, but he was contradicted by his army spokesman who recently called the elimination of Hamas an impossibility. I returned yesterday from a tour of the Gaza division. I saw great achievements of fighting that's being carried out in Rafah. We're nearing the end of the elimination phase of Hamas's terrorist army. We will continue to hit its remnants. Opposition to the war among the Israeli public has been growing. The army has only rescued a handful of hostages after 9 months of fighting amid mounting soldier casualties. I was also very impressed by the achievements above ground, underground, by the fighting spirit of the commanders. With this spirit, we will achieve all our goals: to return our hostages, to eliminate the military and governmental capabilities of Hamas, to ensure that Gaza does not pose a threat, and to return our residents safely to their homes. Despite declaring Hamas defeated in many areas, Israeli troops have been forced to return to face off with Hamas soldiers. Hamas has also managed to launch rockets into southern Israel, despite Israeli claims that its military capacity had been degraded.
Anti-tax protesters clashed with the riot police in Nairobi on Tuesday, blocking roads and burning tires in response to unpopular tax legislation that had sparked deadly unrest earlier this week in Kenya. The finance legislation has faced intense opposition from the Kenyan public, particularly from the younger protesters struggling with rising living costs and unemployment. Last Tuesday, protesters stormed Parliament, prompting police to open fire in an incident that resulted in more than 39 deaths. Protesters expressed their distrust of President William Ruto's government despite his decision to send the finance bill back to Parliament with a promise to make budget cuts to offset the proposed new taxes and fees on various items and services, including egg import and banking services.
Don't move, eh? The number of internally displaced children in Haiti has increased by an estimated 60% since March, the equivalent of one child every minute, a result of ongoing gang violence. According to latest estimates, almost 600,000 people, over half of whom are children, are now displaced in Haiti and in urgent need of humanitarian assistance. Displaced children and adolescents in Haiti are at an increased risk of violence, including sexual assault, exploitation and abuse, and family separation, according to UNICEF. School closures and financial constraints caused by the ongoing violence have forced many to drop out of school. The Caribbean country recently installed a new government tasked with restoring peace and stability. A couple hundred police officers from Kenya have also arrived to help security forces battle armed gangs.
And finally, in sports news, Zambia has been eliminated from the 2024 COSAFA Cup after finishing 4th in Group B without recording a win. The Chipolopolo boys Tuesday, the 2nd of July, lost to Comoros with a 1-0 scoreline, eliminating them from the tournament. The Chisimbewe-coached boys failed to record any win or draw, and the result since Zambia's first participation in 1997 has been described as the worst. That item wraps up the news, but before we go, a recap of stories making headlines. Candle prices rise amidst load shedding. FRA to sell maize in smaller packs in drought-hit districts. Cleric urges church bodies to restore sanity. In international news, Kenya protests continue. Calls for Ruto's resignation deepen. Sports, Zambia exits COSAFA without scoring. We now get to the Camnet verse for the day, coming from Proverbs 13 verses 11. Dishonest money dwindles away, but whoever gathers money little by little makes it grow. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Naomi Msoya. On behalf of everybody involved in this production, pleasant viewing and keep watching Camnet TV.
With this impending drought, it's time we look to alternatives of sustaining our crops. We as ISDP